I'm Jacob Asiyo and I'm an Olympian swimmer. No. No, I'm a jazz pianist in the local industry, the local jazz scene. For the last 20 years, professionally. Yes, because I started performing in high school. In fact, the first gig I had was 650 shillings. This was in 1996. 650 bob. But you see, the advantage was I was living in my mom's house and I knew that that's 650 times 7 times 30. I have to go with about 18k. And the first thing I wanted to buy with that 18,000 was a pair of fila. My mom almost killed me. She said, when you get that kind of money, you bring home unga and mkate. Jazz, African jazz for me is a rebellion. We are reclaiming what we believe is our music, because this music left the continent via slavery, ended up on the other side of the world where they took what the African rhythms, added a dash of classical music, and since then they've said that music is theirs, but it's our music as well. There's a lot to be hopeful for, but the audience needs to grow. And the audience will not grow as long as at every turn we keep, what is the correct way to put this without sounding like a brat? You know, we can't respond to the audience's every whim. And unfortunately in the capitalistic world, you know, the customer is always right. But sometimes the customer is wrong, and Steve Jobs understood that. No one knew they wanted an iPhone. No one knew that they wanted an iPhone. We were stuck on the QWERTY keypads, the physical QWERTY keypads. I was performing at a gig 3 weeks ago, and after everything I played, the dude said, "You sound great. Chaza tetema." Like, dude, is there anything about me that says that's the direction I'm trying to go in? So without that tetema, he felt I was doing nothing. But we have to give credence where it's due, because that song is big. The artist is huge, and this is the kind of these are the challenges that we're facing as the jazz industry. We don't have mega stars yet locally. You know, that's why we get excited. Even for George Benson to make it, he had to go a bit pop. He had to, you know, and we haven't gotten there yet. So, two things. In the local market, if you're not a recording artist, you will not be able to command as much as the recording artists. Okay? No matter how brilliant you are, because people look at what's your brand. So while you're trying to build a brand, you must have a catalog of sorts. And in that regard, I think the only one who has suffered despite having a brand and a catalog extensive is Helen. Because Helen has 3 or 4 CDs out there and a couple of DVDs. He was way ahead of the rest of us. You know, like NHP had finally had the album, before that an EP, Shamsia onto their second one. So it became very clear I'm going to get pushed out of this space, because it's not about how many performances you have, but your own material. The second part of the question was the inspiration. I don't think there's any musician who grows up listening to other musicians who doesn't want to have his own spin or voice to what they're performing. So, and I grew up on Joe Sample, Bob James, Herbie Hancock, Chick Corea, George Duke. I want to have my own album that sounds like that. Of course, it doesn't sound anything close to that. We don't have the technology, or maybe I just didn't have enough money. And as far as your first record goes, at least most people don't quite hit the mark from the very beginning. Some are lucky. I mean, they've got those who just get away with it. Yeah, so how was it received? I don't think it was well received. You know, your family and friends have to tell you, you did very well. This is the best thing you've ever done. And it's true, up to that point. And I have a quote from Branford Marsalis, and I now sound like I'm name dropping. I asked him why about the recording process. And he said, you record so that you hear yourself grow, because there's stuff that is listened to from the 90s and he hates it. He hates that stuff now, and they're on his records. And there's some stuff you can document your growth. I don't even think I play the way I did as I was playing when the album came out. So it will be a marker. Maybe the next one I realize, hey Chief, you've been smashing too many Bloody Marys between gigs, you know. And either you can go up or go down or stagnate. So for a lot of people, That is the reason. Commercially, it's not had much of an impact because I make my money from regular gigging. Just as again, I'm going to name drop. Ask Marcus Miller the same question, and he does that now because it gives him more credibility and validates his price when he's touring, his rate rather, because the more music you have, the fresher you are. You know, you can imagine someone trying to book you for a festival. You're like, yeah, but just last year I dropped another album, and 2 years ago. So it's about having an extensive catalog. But that was the reason why I recorded. I cannot take credit for that. Meet and Jazz is not my baby. It's a Capital FM product. It's a property, and it came about from our current programs controller, WDJ. Is Michael Waithaka. He's the program controller, and he felt that we have to make the Capital Jazz Club accessible to the Monanchi, take it on the road. And that's why there's no entrance fee. It's like, at this point, it's considered too elitist. Because even just, how we start the show, good evening, you're tuned into the Capital Jazz Club. Said, hey, Chief, guys, lighten up. Let's take this music on the road. So we try to do it monthly. But it's purely, it's owned by Capital. It's a great gig. It's on a Sunday afternoon, by the dam. And it just looks phenomenal. I hope it sounds as great because as the evening goes on, people seem to be more spirited, literally. Yes, and I felt that. What it has helped with is that Meet and Jazz has specifically gone on the road, despite being the fact that it's a Capital Jazz product. So our program controller told us we must take this on the road because jazz has a connotation of what is the correct term? Snootiness. That people who listen to jazz listen with their noses up in there. So I said we're going to take this on the road, and we want the common Monanchi. And there's nothing wrong. We are all Monanchi. There's nothing wrong with being a Monanchi in that regard. I'm not saying it badly. So he wants this to go to everyone, to be accessible. The first thing that the Safaricom International Jazz Festival helped me with was giving me a platform so that people who did not know what I do got to see me perform. So you move from performing in a couple of restaurants where at most you have 50, 60 people to an audience of 9,000 or 8,000 overnight. And from that, I was able to, I get more referrals, get more gigs, just get brand visibility that was not there before.